Okay, another problem I'm seeing we're having is there's starting to be a sexual rift between people who want to be gay, straight, bi, celibate, or yin, things of that nature. Right? Now, the problem is, okay, like with all the dates I've been on, all the women I was with, we had premarital sex. Well, that's called the law of consent in most states. Right? And it's different than what the Bible teaches you about sex because it tries to get you, according to the interpretation of the church today, wait for marriage before you have sex. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem with that is that's up to the two individuals involved. Right? And what that means is if I'm dating you and you don't tell me you're waiting for marriage, I don't know, right? For instance, right? But if you're not waiting for marriage and we have premarital sex, I am trying to get to know you where we can maybe get married. Right? Now, I was engaged to a girl before I met Sheena and we had premarital sex. I thought she understood all that. And I thought she was, trying to do the same with me, but maybe I was wrong. She seemed to get mad as I started writing her and talking more about my life anyway. And I don't know if she went religious on me herself and became self-righteous towards our relationship, but it's called a failure to communicate if she did, right? Mm-hmm. Now, some people think, again, you're supposed to know what they're thinking, but how can you, right? See, my thoughts are not your thoughts, is what the Bible's trying to tell you. See, people can take something completely different as well and not know what you wanted wasn't the same thing as what he wanted, but because of what he had learned being different than you. But again, um, I was learning about the law of consent when my friends were having sex around me and we were going out to church too, right? Especially in Georgia, right? See, Georgia has a law called the law of consent, and the law of consent is different than what the church is teaching. It says you can have sex whenever you want. You can even be common law marriage if you're together for more than 7 years and in a sexual relationship. I know. Right. And that's kind of the whole point. And see, sex is delicate when you do it or not, but you got to communicate, like with the song Don't Hand Me No Lines and Keep Your Hands to Yourself, right? And tell me you're waiting for marriage, and okay, that's different, right? I know to wait for marriage. But if we're doing things of a sexual nature and you don't tell me you're waiting for marriage, I assume, like the 5 other women I was with, right, before I married them too, you were on board for premarital sex, right? Now, I didn't condemn you for the premarital sex. It seems like you condemned us both yourself, right, for what we did. Which, up till you found out it was actually sex, you seemed fine with, right? That's called confusing your new boyfriend and not telling him where you were at religiously yourself. And again, not to condemn you, but to identify where we were both at when we met. Right? See, I was dealing with different things in my church. I keep telling you that too. My pastor was trying to jerk off with other men and trying to keep it on the down low too, but some people were ratting him out, as they would call it. Anyway, and they were on 2020 because he had been doing this for over, at least in the 70s to 80s, right? He started him a little church in Waukegan, Illinois, targeting mainly sailors in the Navy. I don't know if YMCA or Macho Man or even in the Navy had something to do with it. by the Village People that was also in the 70s. Right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, right, we're all acting a little too brotherly there, right? Because I was taught, handle your own business, but don't touch another man's penis. Don't even look at it funny. Or stare too long. If you know what I mean. But that's just what Georgia taught me. Like I said, I'm not from, say, New York. I'm not from California, right? Down here, we kind of strict on that thing. and we don't try to even look down too long towards another man's crotch either, because someone might accuse you of checking them out. Yeah. And what I'm trying to do is explain to all my girlfriends. Most of them knew we had premarital sex, though, I know. It was just you who acted weird about what we did. I'm also asking you, did someone write you evil letters in my name without me being aware of it and type them up? Which is also based on the show I watched growing up called Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. I know. Now, like all, kids of this generation, I had a typing class, right? But I barely passed it with, I think it was 78, I told you, right? I mean, I'm okay for a guy, but, let's just say I'm not really a novelist or anything, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the point, too, right? I'm talking about things we all learned in sex ed class, but not saying it really happened, right? See, that's the point. People are so judgmental today, right, about everything. You can't even say you dreamed of masturbating to a girl, but never did. Right? Okay.